Chagas disease in Ohio. Should you be concerned about the kissing bug? Chagas disease, caused by the parasite Trypanosoma cruzi, has recently drawn national attention after the CDC recommended treating it as endemic in the United States. Transmitted by the triatomine bug, commonly known as the kissing bug, this disease has long been associated with Central and South America. However, its presence in the U.S., including Ohio, is prompting growing public curiosity and concern. Kissing bugs get their name from their habit of biting people near the mouth or eyes while they sleep. After feeding, the bug often defecates near the bite, and if the parasite-containing feces enters the wound or a mucous membrane, infection can occur. The risk of this chain of events happening in Ohio, however, remains very low. Ohio is home to a single species of kissing bug, Triatoma sanguisuga, also known as the blood-sucking cone nose. These bugs are rare in the state and are not commonly found inside homes. Experts from institutions like the Ohio State University emphasize that while awareness of Chagas disease is important, there's no need for panic. The bug is more likely to be found in outdoor settings and is less adapted to human environments compared to species found in Latin America. For most people, Chagas disease doesn't cause symptoms in the early, acute stage. If symptoms do appear, they may include fever, swelling at the bite site, or general discomfort. The chronic phase, developing years later, can lead to serious heart or digestive issues, but this is uncommon and usually linked to long-term untreated infections. The good news is that Chagas is treatable, especially if caught early. Medications like benznidazole and nifurtimox can be effective, though access and side effects remain challenges. To stay safe, Ohio residents are advised to seal cracks in homes, keep outdoor debris away, and avoid contact with wild animal nests or burrows. If you find a suspected kissing bug, don't crush it. Instead, safely collect it for identification by local health or university experts. Ultimately, while the kissing bug is present in Ohio, the risk of contracting Chagas disease remains low. Staying informed and taking basic precautions is all most Ohioans need to do.
This comes from so-called kissing bugs. The infection has made its way to Southern California, and it can cause chronic problems, and it can even be fatal. So, here to break down what exactly this is, and again, it's in Southern California, it hasn't made its way to the Midwest to our knowledge yet, is Dr. Marielle Friccioni with Rush University Medical Center. Dr. Friccioni, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Well, you're back once again. I'm just curious what we're going to be talking about the next time you join the program, because this has been kind of a wild streak of wild, exotic medical headlines. My mind is kind of blown here.
I know.
What exactly is Chagas disease? That, I don't know how close up of a photo that is, but those things up close look kind of menacing.
Yeah, they're actually about half an inch to an inch long, so you can pick them out pretty easily. And as you can see, they have that kind of banding on the outside. But Chagas disease refers to a disease caused by a parasite called Trypanosoma cruzii. We call it T. cruzii. And the kissing bugs get infected with that parasite. And then when they bite a human or an animal, then actually it comes out in their poop, and then the poop can get mixed in to the bite where the area of the bite was, and then that gets transmitted either to the human or the dog or some other animal.
Yikes. Okay, so what are the symptoms of Chagas disease, and how serious can it become?
The symptoms in the acute phase, what we call, which is if you get sick at all during the early phase, you might have flu-like symptoms. Sometimes if you get bit near the eye, then that gives you a swollen eyelid. And just as an aside, it's called a kissing bug because it usually bites at night, and it usually bites around the mouth or the eyes. So in the early phases, it's flu-like symptoms. Then weeks to even decades later, you might have symptoms of heart failure. And problems with your intestines, because it can affect the smooth muscle even decades later.
So it can be contracted but not realized or diagnosed for decades?
Yeah, and the only time you can treat it is if it's recognized in the first few weeks in the acute phase. So it's one of the reasons why the CDC is so important, because they track where the bugs are. They track if animals are infected. They're the only ones that can test for it. And sometimes we have to get the medication from them. And that's the only way you can prevent the chronic problems, is by taking the medication early on.
Early on. So it's almost like, I mean, I'm thinking about Lyme disease, for example, and how if that's not caught early, it is like exponentially more complicating, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so this is something that we don't have to worry too much in Illinois. We've only found 1 or 2 of these type of bugs in the southern part of the state, and only half of any bugs that are around have the parasite in it, right? So there's a really low chance here. But like different kinds of ticks, like you mentioned, are coming into Illinois. These bugs might start coming into Illinois more. Or the dog kennels, which is what's happening in Texas. The dog kennels might be sort of run rampant with Chagas disease. And you don't know unless someone like the CDC is coming in and testing animals and people.
This is concerning. So in terms of, the headline, Chagas disease, someone was infected in Southern California. How new is this? Like how significant is this most recent development, or is this just something that's been around for a long time, and like these other stories we've covered in the last couple of weeks, every once in a while there's a human diagnosis?
Yeah, it's a lot like the other ones. Like you said, it's a great question. It's been around for a long time in human history. They even dug up some mummies that had some of the parasite in it. So we know it's been infecting humans for a long time. It's mostly, in the past, it's been in South America, and it's really only in North and South America. But that's when we would worry about it more, is if someone traveled there and then came back. Now, Texas, we know, has a bunch of cases and has had a bunch of human cases. California has had a bunch of human cases over the past 50 years or so. But there's no surveillance for it. Not every state is required to report cases. And if you don't report cases to your local health department and then tell the CDC, we have no idea how many are happening.
Yeah.
So this is, to me, this is a really huge story about why the CDC is so important and why public health needs to be funded.
That underscores both those things for sure. Dr. Friccione, before we let you go, what's your bottom line for folks here in Illinois? Do we go on DEFCON 5 alert, or are we kind of down in the yellow? Bottom line it for us.
I think this isn't just a story about Chagas disease, right? This is a disease that comes from a bug that has a cute name, right? So it makes headlines. It's a kissing bug.
Yeah.
But that's not the story. It's not a risk here in Illinois. If you travel to places in South America, or even Texas or California, it's good to tell your doctor about that. You should always protect your home from bugs and rodents getting in, so fill cracks, etc. If you're in rural South America, you should use bug nets over your bed. So there are ways to prevent it, always. But if the local public health department or the CDC isn't telling you about it, you're not going to know when it's on your doorstep. And so that is the scariest piece to me.
Indeed. All right. Dr. Mariel Friccione with Rush University, thank you once again for your time. We always appreciate it.